Welcome back, brothers and sisters. I am Braden, the guy in camo right across from me. This is Tim, and this is The Second Legacy, and thank you for stopping by. Today, we've got a jam-packed show. We're going to talk about a special expose from the New York Times, making ammo manufacturers evil. We've got a new board we're going to release for that. We've got the goofy things gun grabbers say, and we're going to talk about a developing story around the Secret Service going ham in Washington. This is going to be one you guys are going to love. Make sure you hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and now with that, Tim, how you doing, man? It's Monday. You know, we built up a lot of stuff over the weekend.
Yeah, no, it's good. It's good. It was a good weekend, and looking forward to this week. Looks like we're gonna have some decent weather, and just can't beat it. Can't beat it. Yeah, love the fall. Beat it.
But speaking of can't beating it, I mean, this is important. It's a good segue, Tim. You're my segue guy. You are. There's this breaking story coming out, and we don't have any clips or anything because we're getting some more details. But it turns out that the Secret Service, kind of protecting the granddaughter of the president, got attempted carjacked in Washington, D.C. and starts cracking off rounds and didn't hit anything.
Yeah. Look,
it's good.
The most powerful nation in the world, and our capital is that big of a mess where literally the president's granddaughter, the Secret Service detail gets ambushed in a carjacking, and then they jump out guns a-blazing, hit absolutely nothing. Wow. I mean, but it's the guns, dude. It's not people. It's not government. It's the guns. It's the guns.
And you know what? If the Secret Service had not been packing to protect anybody, this never would have happened. The shots never would have been fired. If the guns were never forged again, they never would have happened. That carjacking, nope. Nope. Of course, we're being facetious. It's a crap hole.
Yeah.
Lord.
Yeah.
But that's not the main thing we brought the people here for, Tim.
No.
That's just a tasty nougat that broke this morning.
Yeah, that's just the fun part of the week. Yeah, that's wow.
Yeah.
Insane.
Yeah, that's a fun one. So we'll keep you updated on that one, guys, because I'm sure more's going to come out of that one. That smells of greatness. But now we got to talk about something the New York Times did. They got a little cheeky this weekend, Tim. They kind of let the cat out of the bag a little bit.
Yes, they did.
Yeah,
yes, they did.
They tend to do this in the media where they float a trial balloon and they tell the Democrats across the board and they say, "Oh, did you see that expose in the New York Times to seem all aristocratic?" Wow,
Just pick a different word.
You know what? Nose in the air.
There
Whatever. Elite member of the aristocracy is what I was trying to go for. Aristocratic, my friend.
There we go.
Aristocratic. Nailed it. Landed it. It's Monday, baby. Well, it turns out that, Tim, it's the ammunition, and it is all sourced.
So it's not the guns,
place.
it's the ammo now?
No. Yep.
Or
exactly.
is it both?
And that's what we're going to do. No. Hey, stay focused.
Okay,
stay focused.
My bad.
We are on topic right now, the ammunition and those evil manufacturers who have no accountability, and it's on them.
Got to control that marketing, but let's go. Yes.
You got to. In fact, Tim, they went above and beyond for this little expose on Lake City ammunition plant. On number one, which we're about to show you from Dr. Button Pusher over here, this is what they put in front of the article. Just show that for us, sir. This is, Tim, what you're seeing is an actual animated scrolling that I'm capturing what they've put on here. They're showing the head stamp, the cartridge itself, amongst its peers, a spent casing. Oh, they were found. I can't wait to tell you guys where these were found. That is just impactful and powerful. That is reporting. That sets the table.
So if you ever see that head stamp, folks, run.
It's going to get you. It's going to get you. And I mean, Tim, we talked about this before the show. Did you see, were those primers sealed?
It didn't appear to be. I didn't see sealant on them. So that somebody in the animation department over there really needs to be reprimanded.
Really messed up.
Because they got the head stamp pretty close. Yeah.
Yeah. We need some kind of blue, like random spilling around the edges of the primer to really make the impact for realism. But yeah, that's what they put in front of the article that we're about to cover. Guys, legitimately, if you don't watch the rest of this episode, you need to. But understand, they throw these trial balloons out here to rally the troops and point in a common direction. I'm telling you, there's so many buzzwords they're about to use, so let's get into this.
But hold on, I just want to point out really quick. Hold on, one quick thing.
Yes. Get in here.
So that was not a accurate representation of a military grade cartridge. You pointed out there's no sealant, there's no annealing.
Oh,
I mean, that was a complete travesty. That was irresponsible reporting. Now go ahead.
It was. No, it was. But I was scared though. And it was very flashy and fancy. So, as I was saying before that crucial detail was interjected, Dr. Button Pusher, could you throw number 2 up so we can dive into this? Because this, I think this is something we need to talk about. Army ammunition plant is tied to mass shootings across the U.S. The site was built for the military, but commercial sales are booming with little public accountability. Rounds have been bought by murderers, anti-government groups, and others. All right. This is a perfect time to introduce a little board that we're going to throw up. So anytime that you see leftist, anti-gun propagandistic terms, we're just going to throw it up there. So from this one, Tim, I'm going to go with, for the things on the board, we got military, public accountability, murderers, anti-government groups. I think that's a good start for the headline, right? To throw on the anti-government.
Yep. And we have mass shootings.
Dog whistle board.
Yeah, we have mass shootings.
You're right.
That's another catchphrase. Right. Yep.
Yeah, man, we're going to run out of room on our board just from the title.
I know. Boy, they're good. They condensed all those catchphrases and words into that simple 2-sentence paragraph. That's amazing.
They nailed it.
They are such good journalists.
They are. Well, if you guys aren't familiar, this is number 3. If you guys aren't familiar, here's the backstory behind Lake City Ammunition, the evil producer of all the problems in the world. By the way, 2 weeks ago, it was all the gun manufacturers. Now it's
now it's the ammo. And I think I know why, but we'll get into that here in a second.
We'll get into that in a second. The initials stand for the Lake City Army Ammunition Plant. Built during World War II, the federal site in Independence, Missouri, has made nearly all of the rifle cartridges used by the U.S. military since it pulled out of Vietnam. So they're giving you a little bit of backstory here for those who aren't familiar with the gun world. This is the centralized place. This is the target. Look how much has been produced. Intent, wink, wink. Look over here, right? You cannot negate the idea that they are going, well, this is a big source of ammunition that we can stifle.
But out of curiosity, why do you think all of a sudden this attention is being placed upon Lake City? Why do you think that might be? You know, a couple of weeks ago, didn't we have some news break that maybe Lake City was shutting down commercial sales to focus on war efforts or something? You remember that circulating the social media space?
I do.
Yeah, and then a few weeks later, we get this article talking about how just horribly bad Lake City is. It's I don't know. It almost seems like a coordinated effort. Could be wrong. Coincidences rule.
Almost. That's true. That's true. But I think it's an important thing to say here, Tim. In all seriousness, when we are covering these things, guys and girls, we don't discriminate. When we're covering these things and they start to trickle out in the initial, you just see the front tip of that iceberg. We're always going to be a little more cautious from jumping directly to where it could go until we get a little bit more, because they're always going to tell you what they're going to do. They will always tell you the direction they're focusing on. In what you're referencing there, Tim, there was like rumors that military was taking and prioritizing. They were getting rid of civilian. There was rumors of that. There was rumors of ammo hoarding for price manipulation, all sorts of things. But those were all conjecture. There was nothing truly proven, right?
But Lake City now, and government arsenal was at the very center of that hoopla.
It had to do with them. Yes, it did. It did. And now you get the New York Times coming out with very specific facts and demonization of which we're about to cover, which is why we're making the propaganda board you're going to see at the end of this. So we've done number 3. Let's jump on to number 4. Listen to some of these statements, Tim. In recent years, the factory has also pumped billions of rounds of military-grade ammunition into the commercial market. Put that on the board. Military-grade.
Yep. We got military-grade weapons. Now ammo. Okay, keep going.
Yep. You seen the theme? Leaving the LC signature scattered across crime scenes, including the sites of some of the nation's most heinous mass shootings. Tying it to mass shootings. So let's put mass shootings on the board. Well, it's already there, actually. It's already there. So, Tim, we got to be specific, though, because here we go. The plant, operated by a private contractor with Army oversight, so put Army oversight on that board, is now one of the country's biggest manufacturers of commercial rounds for the popular AR-15. AR-15 on the board. Okay, are you feeling how big this board's getting?
They're one of the biggest manufacturers of commercial rounds, but wait a minute, they just called them military grade, and now it's commercial rounds. Right. So is it commercial grade or military grade? Because they're kind of confusing that in this quote here.
But that's not the important piece, though, Tim.
Yeah.
Did you hear me say military grade ammunition? It is military grade.
Military grade. So
it is.
Boy, that sounds really dangerous. I mean, because if you have a 5.56 round and then say a Wolf Gold Taiwanese 5.56 round, is the Lake City more dangerous or more deadly or more military grade?
Absolutely.
I'm not sure. I'm so confused.
Going back to the annealing, the sealing of the primer, Tim.
The crimping. Don't forget the crimping. We must crimp.
Crimping. I was going to say crimping.
Yes.
Because crimping is clearly an increase of pressure and allows for more rounds to not fail.
But it also it prevents bullet setback during feeding, and that's a safety issue. But that's military grade.
Yes. That's military grade, though.
Yes.
That is military grade, apparently. According to these people. Don't mention the words commercial, though. Don't get it twisted, Tim, because they are pumping military grade ammunition.
Because, there's no need in the civilian world for a crimped round that would resist bullet setback, which can create unsafe pressures. There's no need for a sealant on a commercial round. It's not like we hunt in the rain or anything. It just seems like this military grade stuff just is unnecessarily lethal. We don't know how this stuff increases lethality, but it does. Yep. And we need to do something about it now.
That's exactly right.
Let's control the marketing. That'll fix it. Okay, anyway.
Oh, that's exactly where we're going. And guys, by the way, if you are new to Second Legacy, this is so far off the sarcasm gauge that we're dropping right now.
Yes.
Because it's that stupid.
It is. These people are dumb as a bag of rocks.
In Bag of Rocks, you're actually crediting the Bag of Rocks on this.
I know. I feel bad for Rocks.
Zealots.
I feel bad for Rocks. What's amazing is they structured an entire expose, an entire article around this nonsense. But anyway.
But it's for a purpose, though.
Yes, I know.
And that's the big piece, because we're about to hit why this is so important. So on number 5, I'm going to read the tail end of this. And listen to this, Tim. This, I think, is interesting. But more than 1 million pages of search warrants, police evidence logs, ballistic reports, forfeiture records, and court proceedings compiled by the Times provide a sweeping accounting of how Lake City ammunition, once intended for war, has also cut a criminal path across towns and cities in nearly all 50 states. Wow. Now we just not have AR-15s running around by themselves, jumping out from behind bushes, ambushing Americans. But now we got the ammunition running around. Could you imagine how bad this would be if the ammunition and the AR-15s got together when they were running around committing all these violent acts of crime by themselves? Together
by
themselves, autonomously.
Oh, my goodness.
Autonomously, yeah. But, I really want to know how much of that was hyperbole, or like with more than 1 million pages of search warrant. You went through 1 million pages of the search warrant.
Of course they did.
What are you, like the ATF?
Yeah.
Come on. Are you the ATF with a non-searchable database? Yeah, no, we found it real quick.
That sounds good. Weird. Let's make it 1 million. Let's make it 1 billion.
Let's make it 1 billion.
A trillion. No, they won't believe a trillion. Let's do 1 billion.
Not yet.
1 billion pages sounds good. We can do that.
Yeah. Because bees, Bernie Sanders really brought in the bees. Like the millionaires and the billionaires, I love me some Bernie Sanders talking. Nothing
feel the burn
about him, but I do love me. Feel the burn, baby. The Bernie Bros. Well, Tim, we've got a lot on our propaganda board.
Yes,
we do. But there's more, because this one here takes the cake. Number 6. Lake City rounds have been seized from drug dealers, violent felons, anti-government groups, rioters at the U.S. Capitol, and smugglers for the Mexican cartels. Wow. That's almost like that argument that they make where cash is evil because drug dealers use it.
I know, right?
It's like, so we should just get rid of it.
I know. Anti-government. So they're saying, this ammunition has found its way in the hands of criminals. That's not good enough. Rewrite that. So the journalist, air quotes, goes back and like, let's throw in anti-government groups. Oh, and the rioters at the Capitol. Yeah, there were 3 people. 3 people found to have firearms, 2 of which had handguns. One guy had rifles, presumably wasn't even at the Capitol. He just happened to be in D.C. close enough. And then you had handguns. And yet they're saying, and these anti-government groups, rioters at the U.S. Capitol, they're throwing stuff out there. They have no facts surrounding
Not at all.
any of these claims. But it certainly sounds dangerous, and we got to stop those rioters from the U.S. Capitol from having these military-grade cartridges. Ban the sealant. We need the Safer Communities from Sealant and Crimping Act.
Oh, nice one. You are really quite the policy man here.
I know.
I mean, over the time with Second Legacy together, we've had some really good positive policy breakthroughs that you really brought forward. But, that's why we have the propaganda board, because as we're putting the key phrases and the propagandistic emotional terms on this board, it's really going to say quite a lot. So let's add drug dealers, violent felons, anti-government groups, and rioters. Oh, and Mexican cartels. So
rioters at the U.S. Capitol. Notice how they left out BLM.
Isn't that weird?
Antifa.
Hey,
that's so strange. They never seem to point that out and that violence. And where there were actually people being killed. The only person killed at the Capitol was when a police officer shot an unarmed protester. But we won't go into that.
Hold on a second.
I wonder if he was using Lake City 9mm.
Was that Lake City? Was that Lake City? Did we confirm that? because that could have been prevented.
Government employee, government arsenal. Oh,
man.
Wow. And they left that out of this important article.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. In fact, here's where we get right to the meat. Because, in the article, there's always that one little tiny paragraph, which is the true outcome that they want. Yeah, here it is. This is number 7. Get my finest narration voice on for this. The trade-off for ordinary Americans is that commercial ammunition for the AR-15 is being manufactured in large quantities on government property with little or no public accountability as to how it's marketed or sold. Ding, ding, ding. Tell me what you want without writing a 500-page article. God, you could have just put that out there and we would have known exactly where you were going.
For the AR-15 being manufactured in large quantities. Okay, so let's not make it for the AR-15. Let's say it's for the Mini 14. We'll even put it on the box. And then we can just start move it off so we're not manufacturing all in large quantities. Let's do it in much smaller quantities. Yeah. And then maybe we can just control the marketing because there's no control over how it's being marketed, because have you not seen those ads? Buy your government manufactured ammunition today and go shoot up an orphanage. I mean, I've seen those advertisements everywhere. Every gun magazine I pick up, there's this advertisement in there for government ammunition and trying to talk people into doing things.
It's terrible.
It's horrible.
It's horrible because the ammunition, it's all about Lake City. In fact, I think we should throw a few more things on the board here because I think this is important. And then we have a really nice, tasty, delicious board, which you can throw out for the people, the Second Legacy. And then we get to go to Goofy Gun Grabbers, your favorite segment. So for the board, let's go through. Let's throw up AR-15's already on there. That's great. Let's throw large quantities. Mm-hmm. Let's throw government property, no public accountability, and let's throw marketed and sold. This is quite the propagandistic board that we're building here.
Well, you got to throw in that marketed and sold part because that's how they brought Remington down. Right?
That's right.
They went after him for their marketing. And you'll see this, it's a common theme. I've seen it several times in the last few months where they're saying, look how these companies are marketing this. And they're going after the companies because there's federal law protecting manufacturers from frivolous lawsuits, but that doesn't extend to the marketing aspects. They found, an angle to attack from, and they're just doing it over and over and over again. And this is just feeding 100%. Into that narrative. Yeah.
The Protection and Lawful Commerce in Arms Act is what he's referencing. So I think we put a pretty good fine point on that. That was a propagandistic hit piece against Lake City to rally all the gun controllers against a common enemy, which would then destroy the ammo production through government oversight through the Department of Defense. Yep. That's what that was for.
This wasn't for you and I to read. This is for the White House to read.
Exactly.
Right? This was not meant for us. This was definitely meant for politicians.
That's exactly right. But I think we put a pretty fine point on that. Now we get to go to your Goofy Gun Grabbers segment. It's one of my favorite segments.
My favorite segment. Well, we have a few here this afternoon. So one of the first ones, if Dr. Button Pusher, if you could throw up number 8, it's from our friends over at K-12 School Shooting Database. Such amazing people. I mean, they never say anything stupid. It's like I imagine if you follow this segment going forward, you're going to see a lot of quotes from these folks because they're simply amazing. So this kind of ties into, when the anti-gunners move, they move in concert. You'll notice that with the Marxists and stuff like that, when one moves, they all get behind their leader and they move in unison. And that's how that's how they win things, right? And they pride themselves on this, right? And so here we see this once again, everybody getting behind their leader, and K2 School Shooting Database picked up on the news article, and this is what they had to add today on Twitter. Where does the ammo used our nation's deadliest school shootings come from? So you had to tie it back into school shootings because that's presumably what this thing's about, this thing being the Twitter account. Lake City Ammo Plant is a government-owned, contractor-operated, that would be Winchester right now, facility in Missouri. Lake City rounds were seized from insurrectionists. See how they pulled from that article? Mm-hmm. See how they pulled from that? The insurrectionist with the ammunition that could have been linked to an AR-15 like 5.56 ammunition wasn't even at the U.S. Capitol. It was just in D.C., but again, close enough. And Mexican cartels. Well, we got to throw that in too, right? So
you have to. It's scary.
Yeah. So here we go. K-12 School Shooting Database parroting this article. And again, this isn't for you. This is for the politicians to go, ooh, look, I think we have an angle here. And
exactly right.
Yep. And that's what this is. And so even though these folks might not be working directly with the White House or policymakers in D.C., they're working in unison. They see their lead and they follow because they want to push the narrative. and get everybody all excited and all wrapped around the axle so they can get something done policy-wise or legislatively. Now, I think this is going to fall flat. This is just a trend because I think this all ties back into the earlier reporting that Lake City was shutting down commercial sales, all that hyperbole and speculation. And I think this is where this stems from. So this will probably peter out, but not before they get in a few cheap shots like this one. It's so predictable.
I would agree. I think that's an excellent assessment. And that was a good transition piece right there. That's good. You got anything else, Morris?
Yes,
anything
we have.
More delicious?
Yes, we have number 10. Number 10, please. So this is from our friends over at K12 Shooting Database. Once again, completely unrelated, but this one I thought was really funny. Op-ed. What is the mental state of a person who wants to own guns meant for war battle as a distinct from hunting and target shooting? Should that by itself be a red flag? So, and then they show this guy with a, FAL. So here we have them trying to question the mental acuity and the stability of somebody who just simply wants to own a rifle. Now, if you go for a self-loading rifle, should that be a red flag that perhaps you have mental issues? See the narrative they're trying to push here, folks? I mean, this seems so outrageously stupid, but to the fence sitter or to the anti-gunner that's easily riled up, this is going to go, oh, yeah, that makes sense. And now you're going to start seeing all these anti-gunners they usually make male member digit jokes, like you have a gun because you're inadequate in other places. Now it's going to transition to, well, you're mentally unstable if you want that self-loading rifle, because that's a red flag. And then what is a red flag? I think there's laws around red flags. What does that mean?
It's perhaps almost like it dovetails.
Right. It's almost like if we can say that you're a red flag for wanting this, then we can red flag you and take that thing away. So again, they're all feeding a narrative here, and this is all structured, all behind Dear Leader. And yet again, and this I thought was funny. So sometimes with these X posts, formerly known as Twitter, it's more fun to read the comments than it is the moronic post that spawns the comments.
Yeah, I would agree.
And so in perusing the comments, I believe it was for number 10 that we just showed you. I believe this was in that particular thread. And somebody posted this as a response. Number 9, Dr. Button Pusher. So here is a gathering of things that we've talked about many times here on the Second Legacy about how frequently somebody is killed by the misuse of an AR-15. So this person pulled a bunch of data, cited all the sources right there. You can see them. And let's go down the list. So more deadly than the AR-15 being misused by a criminal is a person falling out of bed. Now, this isn't just a little bit. You're far more likely to fall out of bed and die than be killed by somebody misusing an AR-15. Then we have swimming pools. Right behind falling out of bed, we have the swimming pool. So you are more likely to drown, far more likely to drown in a swimming pool than you are to be killed by somebody misusing an AR-15 deer. Now, I'm not talking about deer hunting and you shooting yourself. I'm talking about a deer literally attacking you.
Literally with
how many people in your life have been killed by a deer? Well, yeah, it's far more common than somebody being killed by somebody misusing an AR-15.
This next one's my favorite.
Autoerotic deaths. Now, you may be asking yourself, what is that? Well, have you ever heard of somebody tying a rope around their neck and tying that around a door handle and then having a little bit of fun with themselves and accidentally dying in the process? Yeah, you're more likely to die that way than to be killed by somebody misusing an AR-15. Ladders, getting up there, getting the leaves out of the gutters and stuff this time of year. Yep, you're far more likely to fall off your ladder and die or be beaten with it by a criminal than you are to be killed by somebody misusing an AR-15.
Wait, hold on.
What?
hold on. Good time out. I just got an image of UFC breaking out while people are cleaning their gutters, like hitting people with ladders.
Swinging ladders, yes.
Okay. Please continue. Sorry.
All right.
Okay.
Then we have bees, and we're not talking about the African killer bees that we all got spun up about in the 1980s. No, these are just your regular garden variety bees. Yes, you're more likely to be killed by a bee attack than you are by an AR-15 in the hands of a killer. Lawnmowers, folks. Lawnmowers. Now, you may think that it's a safe appliance because the blade faces down. It's only a few inches off the ground. And, it's not like it's a super dangerous machine, but it is because it's more likely to kill you than somebody with an AR-15.
Blade of death.
Yes.
It's a spinning blade of death.
Finally, all the way down at the bottom of the list, we get to the AR-15, rifle homicide. And not just AR-15s, it does call out or similar. Okay, so it's not just the AR-15. Yeah, there we are. Third from the bottom.
But it edged out bucket.
Just barely edged out dying by a bucket. Now, I don't know how you kill yourself with a bucket, but apparently it's pretty darn close to the number of people that get killed by people misusing AR-15s.
I think it's those tragic incidents where a younger toddler would fall into a half-filled bucket, like on the side of a bucket. That's the only thing I would imagine, or an adult, like somehow.
It's like Family Feud.
Yeah, it's
falling in a bucket.
Lightning.
Oh, yeah, it's like
nope.
I just don't get it, dude. And then, but we have often said, or I've often said, that you're more likely to be struck by lightning. Well, technically, according to this, you're a little bit more likely to be killed by somebody misusing an AR-15. So all this consternation about AR-15s and like, oh my gosh, we got to do something to get rid of these. You'll probably save more lives by banning beds, swimming pools, getting rid of all the deer. California, have at it. Get them off the island and then come on over here to Indiana and massacre them. The autoerotic deaths, bladders, bees, lawnmowers. If we just get rid of all of that.
We should really do.
Maybe then they wouldn't worry about the AR-15 so much, because we can save all these lives, all these people falling out of bed.
There's like 18 jokes in my brain now for the autoerotic. It's like I just and none of them I can get across YouTube. Like I just can't. But I think that was a good show.
Yeah,
I think we wrapped that up nicely.
So
some goofy things that gun grabbers do.
Yeah, hopefully you guys enjoyed some of that stuff and found today's video entertaining, fun, and informative. Thank you for watching The Second Legacy, and we'll talk to you guys soon.